Okay, so for real.
For real, I did not write that book.
Start. We're not here to talk about Anna's new book, so
No.
really we have nothing to talk about.
Right. Well, no, we have a little something to talk about. A couple things.
So, obviously this is the first of a few times that we're going to sit down and just kind of start talking about training and life and just the general things that we see. But right now, give us a quick breakdown on what is up and what you're doing.
Okay, so right now, training for Aquabike World Championships. And Aquabike is not what you think it is.
Like the big fat spinny wheels
No,
at Disney
no,
World?
No, it is not that thing that you
Oh.
ride on top of the water when you go on vacation in Cancun.
That's totally what I thought she was doing.
Yeah.
Now I'm not as interested.
Yeah, no, that's not, it's not it. One person actually did think that that's what I was doing.
No, I really, like at first,
Well, that's because you're not very smart.
I don't know, you
Yeah,
can't
okay.
be this good looking and smart.
So, no, Aquabike World Championships. It's actually part of the ITU International Triathlon World Festival. So it will be an entire week of racing. So there will be different distances and different races. Long distance triathlon course, which long distance means half Ironman distance, which is 1.2 miles in the water, 56 on the bike, and a half marathon. I'm going to be racing 3,000 meters in the water and racing 70 miles in a very mountainous terrain, approximately like 6,000 feet of elevation climbing, which is going to be pretty
So,
challenging.
aquabike just means
Swim bike.
swim bike.
Yes, and there's also aquathon, which is swim
Did they
run.
not really, have they ever discussed about calling it anything else?
Yeah, because if you Google aquabike, Google it right now. Pause the video,
You get this
Google,
awesome
and you'll see
water
this
toy.
awesome two-person. No, I race by myself. I don't have a partner. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we could start something. Yeah, no, because then there's aquathon, there's swim run for people who don't bike, and then there's duathlons. People have heard of that, and those are bike run. So a lot of those races are going to be going on different days at the same venue. So it's a big world festival.
So what was your background before? Was it triathlons?
Mhm.
I know yesterday we talked a little bit about the knee and injury history and stuff, which we won't dive too much into today, but we will. Is why you don't run. So how long have you been in this realm of
So,
things? And
I
what was
did-
the background before?
So just a quick little story. A friend of mine and I, we did this long distance bike ride down in somewhere in Salt Lake. I felt so proud of myself. I think it was like 60 something miles. It was the longest I've ever biked in my whole life. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I get home and I'm on active.com and I see that there's a triathlon the next weekend in Park City where we live. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this.
Backyard, got this covered.
Exactly. I own a bike. I just biked 60 miles. So I could do this. I know how to swim. And I'll just throw some shoes on and I'll just run. So I did it for my very first sprint triathlon a week. Don't do that. A week before. Don't do that. Don't do that. And it was a disaster. It was bad. We could get into the details, but it was, I think I was almost the last one out of the water. When I got to transition one, I think there was maybe like 2 bikes, and those people decided not to finish the swim. So I think I was the
'Cause
last
they
person.
drowned?
They didn't drown. No one died. But it was pretty crazy. That was my beginning in 2010. So 9 years ago in the world of triathlon, and I was hooked. A hook, line, and sinker. I loved it. My first half Ironman was in Hawaii. Don't do that. don't do your first half Ironman in Hawaii. It is very windy and it was very choppy. It was really fun, but it was really hard. And then my first Ironman was in Arizona, a great course in Scottsdale, Tempe area. Beautiful course, just awesome race. I actually did that race twice.
Great car shows there too.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if there's car shows.
It is.
They probably have more than car shows. It's
They do
Phoenix,
a
for
bit.
goodness
That's
sakes.
where like the Arabian horse show, like world championships are. every
Yes,
year, too.
I believe it or not, I did go there in my previous life.
That's
I did.
Maddox's,
go to that.
That's what Maddox's mom does.
Yeah, Arabians.
Yeah.
Yeah, those horses are beautiful.
They are.
Very expensive.
Yes.
Oh yes, very expensive. I did that. That's a whole nother story. I did that before triathlon. Anyway, so I've done, I can't even count how many sprints and Olympic races, and then I've done I don't know, like 7 half Ironmans, and I've done 5 full. The end of my triathlon career came on my last Ironman, kind of. Um, I was doing Florida, Panama City. Uh, got through the swim, got out of the water. I know I was definitely in the top 20 out of the water, which was really great for me. Got off the bike in like, I think 16th, which again, was exactly, what I was looking for. I hit the run course and the wheels started falling off the bus. And so the course is a 2 lap, and ironically, that second lap, they have this area called so you either go straight and you're finishing, or you make a left-hand turn and you do your second lap. And there's these things called special needs bags, where you can, put anything you want in the bag, from a bag of M&Ms to a pair of socks to pictures of your loved ones. And so I picked up my special needs bag, and I'm limping at that point. And I come around the corner, and my husband's sitting in the lawn chair that he purchased, and I just started to cry. I couldn't finish. My knee just felt like it was going to explode. And the worst part of it is I'm tears down my face, and I'm take off my timing chip, and I look up, and that right there, so there's the finish line, and then transition 2, where you get off your bike and you get onto the run course, is right there. So you can imagine there's hundreds of people everywhere, spectators, this and that. And I look up, and there's people coming out of transition 2. They haven't even started the run. And I'm thinking, why? I need to finish. What am I doing? What am I doing? And I contemplated finishing, but I just thought it was the right thing to do, to just give my knee a break.
How has that helped as far as you coaching now and dealing with that? Because, I mean, that's, like, especially with endurance athletes, like, I love endurance events because of the mental side of it. That's one of the things I've always loved. In the military, we did a ton of, like, really miserable things. Mm-hmm. And I was always really good at it, because I can struggle. Mm-hmm. I can suffer way better than most people can. Yeah. But what kind of advice do you give to people when they start to get to that point of breakdown, and that it's just so tough as a coach, because you've been there. I've gone through all these crazy injuries, and I just want to be like, look, do you want to be able to enjoy the rest of your life? Right. But you also know that's the other side of it. Yeah, you've trained all these hundreds of hours, days, months, weeks. You've missed birthday parties, times out with your friends, sleep, arguments with your significant other. You've missed baseball games from your kids, because you trying to get in a run or a bike or a swim, or you've done tons of your training by yourself alone. So you get to that race start, with the best preparation you have. And to answer your question, I, as a coach, especially, it depends on the client. It's like, are they looking to just finish? What are their mental capacities? Are they the type of person who can, like, no matter what, just push through? Not an injury like that, but maybe just push through, like a wall. Yeah, wall. I try to make that happen in the training. Yeah. And a lot of times, with a newer athlete, maybe newer either to me or newer to a longer distance, they'll question, why do I have to do this, big workout? And I'll explain, it's not just for your physical body, but it's also for your mental capacity to understand and remember what it's going to feel like when you are truly suffering. Yeah. And I often try to have them do those workouts alone, because, yes, in a race, you've got the people clapping, and, you've got racers all around you, but there are times it doesn't even matter. You're kind of like, you're in your own world. You've got tunnel vision. To go back really quickly to that race, I'm limping toward the special needs bags at this point. And again, tunnel vision. This girl runs by me. Couldn't miss her. Super fit body, double braids, awesome kit, really fit. She goes running by me, like, you could tell it was her second lap. You could tell she was finishing. And you look at her pants, and she had messed herself in her pants. But she was running like
like an athlete. So whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Those are the type of athletes I like to work with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to go that far, but you can use a porta john. But that tunnel vision of being able to just push through that wall and dive deep into some pretty dark places. Yeah. I do that in the training.
When I know that for us, like military wise, going through like the SFAS, like Special Forces selection process, like one of the biggest things is like night navigation and all this stuff, and you're out on your own. There's a lot of things you do to work as a team, but they always want to see like what you can do on your own, and those were the things where I always did really well. And but yeah, and I'm the same way. I believe training is training, but then there is that important time of like testing that mental fortitude and just like, can you do it? Because then if they can't, well, I mean, like, who's?
If you can't do it in training, it's
like,
quite probable you're not going to find that magic in the race. And I often hear that from a client. Well, come race day, I'm going to get it together. Come race day, I'm going to be able to do the distance. Because in training, it doesn't matter what distances you're doing, Ironman, half Ironman, sprint, Olympic, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you can do that distance in the training. Yeah. So the only thing I don't do is I don't make an athlete run a marathon in their training.
Yeah.
Now, if they've run marathons in the past, they know they can finish a marathon.
Right.
And I've even seen pro athletes make it to Kona, and they have maybe not now because the point system is a little different, but there have been professional athletes who have made it to world championships and have not even run a full marathon yet. That's a different mentality. Yeah. Those athletes, they know.
They're gamers.
You don't become a pro athlete.
Gamers.
Right, not knowing that you can't make that distance. But the swim and the bike, it is mandatory that you know that you're able to do that distance.
I always laughed when I was a professional fighter before the military, and my coaches were always like, man, like, I don't know if you should fight, because I'm a pretty happy guy. Like, I joke around a lot and, like, don't take a whole lot serious. And they're just like, I don't really know if, like, actually, like, fighting, because I was always really, like, careful with my training partners. And my first fight, when like, come out, and it was a really short fight. I feel like the guy basically just ran into my knee, but I got a knockout, and my coaches were just like,
they saw another side.
What happened? And I was like, I don't know.
Right.
Did I win?
Right.
And they're like, you're kind of creepy. Like, that was a really different person.
Now, would that be Dr.
Like,
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
And I was just like, I told you, like, I can turn that on. Like, but I don't want to live like that. Like, I don't want to be that person all the time. But yeah, like, military wise too, like, I could turn it on. But that's not, I know that's not the norm. And which is why I haven't really competed in a lot of stuff in the last few years, because I've tried to just like mellow out, because I am intense, and I'm like, all right, just be a dad. But like, so now, like, you and I've talked about, like, I'm going to do some triathlons and do that. And so I'm excited to try to lean on your experience of that, and like maintaining that balance of being a parent and not letting it consume me, and being like, hey, I'm okay with this, I'm racing me. And I'm really curious to see if I can keep that.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, how do you juggle that? Like, what's your training like? You teach, you have tons of clients, you teach a ton of classes. It seems like you found a good way to incorporate that into your training and take advantage of that, and not.
But a lot of people don't have that.
Overdo that. And how is that looking for you? Like, what's, like, this last month, is it more of like, even like right now, like more of a taper to prep kind of thing, or where have you come from in this last few months to lead up to this, and how have you juggled that, and now what's it this last month kind of looking like?
Okay, so even going back to 2010, I consider myself pretty fit, but that first triathlon, my body was not triathlon fit.
Right.
So over the past 9 years, I've built a really good triathlon, even though I'm not doing the running part, fitness base. So it's just honing in on small things. So like earlier today, I did my spin class at the gym, and it's not like a random training spin class. We do very set intervals, and those are based on either low cadence or workout, or high intensity intervals. It just depends on what I set for that day. So that's what I'm doing now. And then tomorrow I'll do a long ride, probably loop up and down the ULP hill a bunch of times. Get some vertical in tomorrow. Probably about 2.5 hours. Also today I did a short swim workout with a swim coach who's helping me with some technique, because I know I seem perfect in every way, but yeah, he's jealous. I do have a little crossover issue, and any of you triathletes out there are probably nodding your head there. Yeah, I got that too. And so it's good to always have a set of eyes. So even as a coach, I go to other coaches to help me, because even though I think I'm doing it right,
we can't see ourselves.
Right.
Like every time that I post a video of me like doing, I'm like, oh, well, let me talk about critique here and what we need to do. I'm like, oh wow, that's not what it felt like I was doing.
Well, you were critiquing me yesterday, and you were just like saying I was doing everything wrong. I mean, I walked out of that gym. I felt like this small, and like I wanted to quit my job. I'm like, I think I need to like just give all my clients, give all their money back, apparently, because I'm doing exercises incorrectly. I think he was just picking on me. He was trying to point out.
There was definitely a large portion of picking.
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely going on. So we're good. We'll get to that at another time. But I just had to let that off my chest.
Well, you're gonna get to massively critique me.
I think we should show some of that video clip of you with the bands on.
Side arm 4, side abs, 3.
That was awesome. But again, to answer your question, so I'm now 3 weeks out, and you talk about tapering, which tapering is different for everybody. It depends on the distance. It depends on the type of athlete you're dealing with. So if you have an athlete that's a really strong runner and a really weak swimmer, I might taper more of the run and have them still swimming. The day before the race, or actually 2 days before the race, especially like a half Ironman or Ironman, they'll do a race recon. In those type of races, there's usually an organized swim where that Ironman brand has put on an organized swim where there's kayakers in the water, and you have between 9 and 11 to go practice your swim. And that, of course, is mandatory for all athletes that I train. You need to get in the water, and it helps you with sighting. We can go over so many details on that. And then that day before, usually not 2 days before, or the day before, some course recon. Again, depends on the distance of the race. Do maybe like a 20-minute to 40-minute bike ride with a couple of intervals in there. Hop off the bike, do like a 10 to 20-minute run, 30-minute run. Just you want to keep those neurological systems firing.
Right.
So when you talk about taper, that doesn't mean sit around and carb load and watch reruns of The Office. You want to make sure that you keep those systems firing. You keep your metabolism going, neurological systems firing. So you just take the size of the race and you just start to shrink it down as you get closer to. So it depends on the athlete. I know that doesn't answer the question specifically.
It's like you said, it does depend on the athlete. It's so hard to convince the athlete, hey, you need to.
Some you do. And I'm the same, man. I get to an Ironman, you're like, I'm kind of a procrastinator, like most people. And so a lot of people, they think they can like get in the volume they missed 2 months ago, like get it in the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh God, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it hasn't happened 2 weeks before, it's not happening. So
I always tell any athlete, like, I would always rather see them go in a little undertrained.
Yes, a little
than overtrained. Because I mean, at least you can go in and be like, oh, I could have pushed a little harder.
Right, could have had more in the tank.
But the worst is when you're going like, I've got nothing.
You've got nothing, and that's so mentally.
That is so defeating.
It's mentally debilitating. It really is. It really is.
So, what are your what's one of your like top 2 focuses? Come here, you can come here.
I know what a potty is.
We live in a new house. There's one right down around the corner. Real life stuff.
Yeah.
So what is one of your main focuses? You can come sit over here. You can come sit on the couch if you want. As you're going into this, like what is your focus? Like the one thing you're like, this is where I want to put energy so that I feel the most prepared as you're in that kind of like the last wave of things.
Right. So, um, as far as the race and technical aspect is the race course itself. So, uh, like just even the start of the race. So the start of the race, is it a beach start? Is it a deep water start? Is it dock start? I know those things might not seem important to like a beginner athlete. They're just like, I'm just going to get in the water and try to find some room and not get kicked in the head. But for someone like me, I'm going to try to do really well. And I know one of my weaknesses is the swim start. I don't start really fast. I start kind of on the medium side, and then I end up passing a lot of people. So understanding the start of my race, understanding when I get out of the water, transition. I think about fueling, temperature of where I'm going to be.
I want to say that actually that's something we should talk about the next time.
Yeah.
Is focus on the
Fueling,
nutrition side
nutrition,
of things.
yeah,
I think that's probably one of the biggest
that's
mess ups.
a whole can of worms.
So okay.
Whole can of worms.
Yeah.
Whole can of worms. But yeah, so focusing on my nutrition for the race. I've never raced overseas. I've never been to Spain. I've never been anywhere other than the U.S., the continental U.S. I do have some experience though traveling to a race and having to bring all my stuff. So making sure that I've got a good my packing list. You know, knowing the terrain of the bike is hugely important. I have a software system that I can actually take. It loads a GPX file of the terrain onto a software system, which I can then download into my indoor trainer.
Okay.
And I've been riding that a couple times, and it is awful. It's so hard. Oh my God. You know, and just really staying positive. There are good days, bad days, neutral days. Taking a bad day or a bad workout that didn't work out the way you thought it was going to, and just taking that and just learning from that. Journaling in my software system that I write all my workouts, making sure that I don't just see all the data and of that, but I also have like comments on how I felt about that, what I learned from that session, what I got out of it, how to translate that into the next session or into the race itself.
That's a huge thing too. And I always tell anybody I'm working with, I want as many good days as possible, because great days are awesome, but they actually are really hard to recover from.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and then the next day's not normally that.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I've had
well,
that.
what the hell? Like yesterday was awesome. Like, save that great day for the race.
Yeah,
you know?
I've had some great swim workouts, and then the next day it's like, well, it's gone. It's all gone.
Perspective and like being able to keep that mindset of almost embracing those crappy days. Be like, all right, like it's okay to have bad, crappy days. And I tell people that all the time, whether it's in the gym, life, or whatever. It's okay to not be okay. Like if you expect to be on your game or happy all the time, you're never gonna. Like,
unless you're him,
like,
he's happy all the time.
Always.
It's annoying.
So this is kind of just a quick look at what we're going to be talking about, and you know, I think nutrition would be an awesome thing to focus on a little bit more in depth. And then,
but I thought we were going to see you in your Speedo.
We have to go get it. I need to go buy shoes to run in too.
Like running shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And would you have a bicycle that can you ride on the road? Yeah, I guess you could ride that.
I was going to ride my downhill bike.
We'll have to find a downhill course then.
No, I've actually been speaking to a couple guys, but yeah, like I know nothing about it. So this is we're gonna get a lot of good tips on just get what I even need. I don't even know the rules. I was hoping I could use my dirt bike.
You could use anything you want. I've seen it all. I've seen everything from a beach cruiser to a $10,000 tri-bike.
I may have to
all in the same transition area. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. It just depends on what you're looking to happen. And
so
and how fit you are.
We will be answering a lot of questions just by dealing with me. But if you guys have any questions, be sure to send them to us. Obviously, Anna is going to be kind of my resource as I'm going through this, and I'll pretend like I know more than she does.
Yes.
I'm really good at pretending.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to hear this.
I'm excited too.
And,
Even your hat says stoked.
oh yeah. Stoked Coffee. Go get some coffee from Stoked Coffee. They're awesome. And
Sweet.
that's wrap.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys later.